Initially, when the opportunity presented itself, what attracted me to Mary Washington, certainly geography had something to do with it. My wife's family lives in Arlington, Virginia, and so certainly the draw to be close to family was a part of it. But also, I was certainly aware of Mary Washington's reputation, academic reputation, its mission. Actually, the university where I'm currently a president, Truman State University, is a part of a consortium called the Council of Public Liberal Arts Colleges, in which Mary Washington is also a part. So I am familiar with its mission, its reputation. And so those were sort of the starting points for me in terms of why I was interested to begin with. But I continued to be interested the more I learned about Mary Washington and the people here and the people of Fredericksburg. Everyone I met felt so passionately about this school that I just really sensed that it had a lot of heart, a lot of potential. Certainly its location between Washington, D.C. and Richmond. And then once I came to Fredericksburg, I sort of fell in love with Fredericksburg. I thought, wow, what an asset. So I think it's all of the above. It's why I went into higher education. And it's why I'm here at Mary Washington. I wouldn't be at another school. I mean, when you're a sitting president, and certainly Truman has had its fair degree of success, you get approached by other schools. But I'm not interested in just any other school, and I wasn't on the job market currently. What attracted to me was it's the mission of this institution. Not only that's a liberal arts institution, but it's a public liberal arts institution, because I feel very passionately about the public purpose of a liberal arts education. So, I mean, technically speaking, when you talk about liberal arts, you get a lot of different sort of debates, certainly in academia, about what that means. But for me, I think, and I mentioned this when I was talking to those on the Presidential Search Advisory Committee, that I really think that the liberal arts is so important because it instills that intrinsic value of learning, that love of learning, that I think in order to be successful, especially in the 21st century, students have to have. Second of all, I think it develops those higher order thinking skills I think are transferable as we see the changing job market over time, and the fact that students who are graduating today will have multiple occupations in their life. I think it's so critically important to develop those skills. But I think most importantly, and what we don't talk a lot about, is that a liberal arts education is also about developing character. It's also about developing young people who are going to commit themselves to their communities, to others, to service, and maybe most importantly as a public university, to our democracy. We're really about producing good citizens who are going to sort of carry on the work of a free and open society. And so I think all of the above is what a public liberal arts university like Mary Washington is all about, and it's what I'm passionate about. So yes, this is why I'm here. That's what I love the most about being the president of a university, and one of the reasons why I'm drawn to Mary Washington is that I like its size. I like the fact that there's a strong sense of community, that they feel that they have access to the president. That is all what I enjoy. I don't want to be remote. I don't want to be in an administrative bubble. I don't want to be in my office just talking to administrators. No offense to the administrators, they're fine people. But it's really all about the students. And I think staying connected to the students is so critically important. And so I'm going to look for every opportunity to keep that line of communication with students, and not just student leaders, but all students. At Truman, I've taught classes. I have been a faculty advisor to several student organizations. I get invited to dinners with students at student organizations. We find every opportunity possible to have students into our house. I intend to continue all of that here at Mary Washington. Yeah, I think that's one of the great things about being at college, is that this is where students are finding their voice. It's where they're finding their passion, what they're committed to. Again, it's what I'm so excited about being here, is that this is going to be about a place where students are really interested in improving the world. They're just not here about themselves to advance their own self-interest, but how can they find their place in the world and do something to meet the challenges. And so I think it's critically important to hear those voices. I mean, again, I think this is a laboratory for our democracy. And we live in a pluralistic society, and I believe it's our pluralism that makes us stronger, not weaker. One of my concerns sometimes about political discourse is that we see that as a negative and not a positive. I think it is a positive that we live in a pluralistic society where we have a full spectrum of views on critically important issues. And I think a president needs to be involved in listening to those views. And so I welcome the passion of our students. Certainly I haven't met them. Haven't been involved in conversations on campus, so I can't speak directly to those. But certainly I look forward to hearing more about their views and to have an opportunity to talk with them.
Nationally, the cost of college and what students are coming out of, the debt is a big discussion. Do you have any thoughts on that and what direction that may go?
It is a great concern, and I think that if you look over the last generation, we certainly have seen a decline in state support for public higher education, and public universities like Mary Washington and other public universities have been increasingly privatized. A lot of that cost of running a university and preserving who we are is being passed on to the students. One of the things I like about Mary Washington is that sort of challenge of how do you maintain your academic excellence with also being an institution that's about social uplift, and a lot of that is about access and affordability. So yes, I think this is one of the great national concerns, and you can see it in the presidential campaign that's going on right now, is that this is one of the big topics of discussion, is what are we going to do with the problem of student debt? What does that mean for this generation's future if we don't address it in some way? So these are very challenging issues. There's no one easy answer to it, and I know, right now Mary Washington's grappling with its next year's budget and what's going to be the tuition for next year. These are difficult questions to have, but I appreciate that Mary Washington is trying to find that balance of how do you maintain small class size, that intimate setting, commitment to academic excellence, while at the same time trying to remain as affordable as possible for students and keep that student debt low.
How'd your family react when you told everybody we're moving to Virginia?
Well, my wife Kelly is involved in every decision we make, so she's been right along with me every step in terms of thinking about this and talking about this. And so it's been difficult, I'll be honest with you. I mean, we've been in a very good situation at Truman State University. It's a community that has supported us from day one. I feel very connected to the students, the faculty, staff there, and the people of Kirksville. And really, Missouri has been has been very supportive of us. And so it's not an easy situation to leave, when you say goodbye. But again, the opportunity was just too good. And so when we weighed all the things that Mary Washington had to offer, not just for me, but for my entire family, we decided that this was certainly the best move. And so Kelly and I are incredibly excited. My daughter is in college, is incredibly excited. It's not affecting her. The daughter that has a lot of mixed feelings is my daughter who's in high school. She's a sophomore right now, and so as you can imagine, moving halfway through your high school experience is a little traumatic. But I think she's excited. She's sad about saying goodbye to all of her friends back in Kirksville. But I think she's also excited about the adventure, and she hasn't in any way said, oh, we shouldn't do this, because I think she sees that this is a wonderful opportunity for me professionally, but also personally for all of us to come to a place like Fredericksburg, to become a part of a community that we see that there's just so much to offer, and as I said earlier, to be close to family. I think all of the above really offers a lot for us.
Now, when you were looking at UMW, were there any academic programs, student initiatives, strategic initiatives that you were excited about and wanted to expand? And is there anything from Truman State that you started that you'd like to bring here?
Well, I don't know. Again, I think a lot of this are things I'm going to have to learn over time in terms of what are there any things that we can do here, and is there anything that I'm bringing from Truman that I think could benefit? A lot of it's going to be about fit, very similar types of institutions. I'm excited about the academic programs that I know about, their quality, that once again, the small class sizes, the focus, the foundation, the arts and sciences, all important. I'm learning more about cool little things like the Great Lives series. I mean, wow, how cool is that? Those kinds of things are really exciting to me. And again, a lot of this is about geography. And I was talking before this interview that, we bring special speakers in at Truman, but we are in a remote part of the state. And getting people like you have in the Great Lives series to come to campus, it takes a lot of effort. And to be so strategically located between Washington, D.C. and Richmond, I think offers a lot of rich opportunities, both for our students, but also for the community. And I see that playing out in things like Great Lives. And so I think there are a lot of really cool things that I see already being done here that are taking advantage of the geography. And I hope, as I learn more, that I can help work with those here at Mary Washington to think of how we can leverage the asset of our location to even do more.